All eyes on Mad Max Brosmer tonight. Vikings QB makes his case for the QB3 job in Tennessee. Final score tonight, 23-13. Breaking it all down next on the Vikings Squad Show. But first, let's meet the crew.
Ron Johnson, former Gophers and NFL wide receiver, and my guy Max Brosmer did not disappoint.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. I would not say that Brett was ripping it.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad, sponsored by Game Time. Everything Minnesota Vikings, every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Vikings Squad Show immediately after the Vikings' final preseason game in Tennessee, 23-13. That was your final. We're providing you with all the instant reaction, including a Mad Max Brosmer. He pled his case to make the final 53-man roster. More positional battles taking place. Cornerback room, very fluid right now. Running back 3 job. And did anyone win the return job tonight as well? I got to know that. It's all happening right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Your team every day. Remember, you can always find this show on audio if you want to listen, right on the Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast feed, and of course on video up on the Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel as well. Make sure you like and subscribe. Keep up with all the action. So close to 10,000 subscribers, by the way. Before we get into all that, quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Monarch Money. Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for monarchmoney.com. 50% off your first year. Ron, I want to kick it off with you, as we always do, first dibs. It was only 6 days ago, Max Brosmer marched the Vikings all the way down the 2-minute drill, got them into striking distance. We all remember how that turned out. But this week, it felt like, okay, it's your last chance to kind of put your stamp on this QB3 job. And, I mean, he looked the part again, did he not? Big-time throws downfield. Timing, rhythm, accuracy. It just looked the part of a capable backup in the NFL. And then capping it off with that long touchdown pass to Bryson Nesbitt as well. It just kind of felt like maybe this is the nail in the coffin for Brett Rypien, did it not?
You're muted, Ron.
Ron,
I think the nail in the coffin might have already been nailed before this game. The fact that Max Brosmer started over Rypien. I think the coaches had already had their idea and their plan. Max Brosmer just did what he's supposed to do, though. He went out there, he looked efficient, he threw the ball well. That 4th and 4 call by Wes Phillips. My goodness. I don't know if that was Wes Phillips or that was a player, because we saw Josh Metellus calling defense. Yeah. I don't know if maybe they turned it over to TJ Hawkinson. I don't know if there's an offensive guy other than Jets that they would let call offensive plays, but 4th and 4 to run a slot fade. That was super, super aggressive and ballsy. But Max Brosmer, you could see right away when the play was called, he kind of saw that there was going to be some type of man blitz. He knew he had man covered to that top side. And he just did one little pump, looked to his left, and just he knew where he was going. He's like, I got to let it go before I get hit. And great route. He's got to come down with the ball when you hit the ground. He did not complete the catch. That would have been, a huge highlight. But I think with that throw alone, everybody's like, man, Max Brosmer has it. Now, if JJ McCarthy was a proven vet as a starter, I think maybe they would go with a guy unproven like Max Brosmer as a backup. But for QB2, I'm guessing you have to go with a guy like Sam Howell, because JJ McCarthy, you have no idea what you're going to get with McCarthy right now. So I don't know if they feel comfortable going with 2 young, unproven quarterbacks as 1 and 2. My guess is Brosmer is 3, and he's that emergency quarterback on the roster. He has to be, because I don't even know at this point if he would clear waivers. He looked so good, and the broadcast talked him up nonstop.
Yeah, to Ron's point here, by the way, golf clap for Ron. He's been on the Brosmer hype train since June and probably then some, actually. He's definitely turned a lot of heads.
As is every Gophers fan.
True, 100%. Luke, let me ask you this.
Pro Day, though. So at Pro Day, I bought
you were at the Pro Day.
Oh, true.
You were at the Pro Day.
Fleck conversation.
Yeah.
I saw those two kind of talking, and I asked Josh McCown right after. I'm like, what's going on with you and PJ? He kind of gave me a heads up about PJ talking to his son, because his son was considering maybe hitting the portal. And so, I think Josh McCown and PJ have had a relationship with that, Kevin O'Connell and PJ. So there was a lot of conversations about, you don't turn a guy over to a pro team and lie, because then they'll never trust PJ again. So when PJ was kind of talking Max up, I think he was being 100% honest, and Josh McCown trusted him and said, "Yeah, let's take this guy. If he's out there, we got to make the first offer to get him before anybody else does."
Like Ron kind of hinted at, Luke. The question I don't think is Max Brosmer the QB3? Is he making the team anymore? Is the question now like how far is the distance between 3 and 2 when it comes to him and Sam Howell? Like, okay, maybe the coaches aren't even thinking about that right now, but maybe it's only a matter of time if Brosmer can keep these kind of reps up in practice, and maybe Sam Howell continues to be volatile and inconsistent. I don't know. That wouldn't really shock me either. And to Ron's point, devil's advocate is probably going to come out and say you can't have your QB 1 and 2 be guys that have both never taken a snap in this league before. But what we're seeing from Max Brosmer tonight on the field again maybe tells a different story. I don't know.
Yeah, you definitely need some experience in that room, and Sam Howell didn't play. That both implies that either he has the QB2 job or that they don't know what they want to do yet, but that they've seen what they need to see to know what they have in Howell, and it's more about seeing more from these guys. I do think it matters that Brosmer went first. They alternated quarters, though. So I do think they kind of entered this game saying, okay, let the best man win, and I don't think it was close at all, right? I don't think anybody does. You could kind of feel in the fourth quarter with Rypien. You could feel him try to push the ball, maybe force it downfield a little bit more. After seeing what Brosmer did in the third quarter with that great throw to Fleming, unfortunately, it was dropped. I don't know if that was necessarily like a let's go deep play call. I think there's just a fade in it, but I think everything else was short. And I think that was just a like, hey, if you see it and there's nobody over the top, go for the big one. But really that play, I think, was a more standard 4th and 4 play call. And I think it was Max Brosmer who saw it and went, oh, I'm taking this. And I think he was right to do that. It sucks that he couldn't get paid out.
Yeah.
But like, what an awesome moment. And the courage to do that as a young guy, and the understanding to be able to get through, okay, it's 4th and 4. This is dangerous, but I'm going to do it anyways. It really pays out all that reporting that Max Brosmer was like mentally ahead of the curve so much. And then Rypien gets in there in the fourth quarter and starts to force it, and maybe throws balls he shouldn't be throwing, missing high a whole bunch. Maybe he was a little torqued up because he knows he's throwing for his job, and it all goes sideways. So I think Brosmer, developmental QB3. We do not need to make him the 2. We don't need to put that on him. Okay, he's still learning a lot. He's still a rookie. Put him in the emergency job. Give him pads every week. Hope you never have to use him, and let him learn in this QB room with Josh McCown and Kevin O'Connell.
Unfortunately for Rypien, the fall from March to now August 22nd, Daniel Jones leaves for Indy. Rypien just steps up as default as the 2. They roll with that for a while until they make that trade, obviously, for Sam Howell. And now here we are again, August 22nd, third preseason game over. It feels like he is definitely the 4th QB and the one out of that 53-man roster. Ron, I asked you this.
Disagree, though. Okay, go ahead. Question, though. I got to disagree. I'm pretty sure that play was called W fade, because if you watch the outside receiver, the way he ran his route, it was literally just to stop and make sure that outside corner doesn't fall back. Wow. And the inside receiver right away held it tight and then ran the fade. I think that was the call. Now, my guess is it was probably the first call, and then he had an option to kill to something else, because he was up close to the line of scrimmage at the running back level first. After he saw the blitz, or kind of understood, like, okay, here's the front. I got true Z. It was, and I do have the play on my phone. I haven't looked at it yet, but if it was zero coverage, I'm pretty sure at that point he knew they're coming. I'm going deep right away, because Max never looked anywhere else. He was. I'm telling you, the offensive coordinator in that play, I think he just knew Tennessee 4th and 4. They're coming, and most of the time, here's the thing. You're right, Luke. Most of the time, people run sticks routes. So I think they were playing into that to say, hey, they only have 2 seconds. They're going to get the ball out. Just, cover the sticks. And that's why that DB was flat-footed, because he was hoping for double sticks, and it ended up being stick outside, fade inside, and he caught him flat-footed. Receiver, again, if he just catches the – and what I don't understand, too, is why he felt like he needed to catch it and go to the ground. Like, if he had just ran through, like, keep running, because it literally was on his fingers. Like, it was in his hands. So it was one of those, like, he didn't catch it clean, I felt like, or something. He felt like he had to leave his feet. If he had just kept running through, like, but again, I don't think he caught it clean in his hands, because if he catches it clean in his hands, it's a walk-in touchdown. And then the story continues of Brosmerisms with 2 touchdowns. And I mean, I would have put him 200 some yards at that play lands. So Yeah, I think it. I mean, I hope somebody asked that. It wasn't the Kevin O'Connell call, so maybe Kevin to be a little bit more loose this week with that. If somebody, maybe I have to ask him, but I'm
Maybe, yeah.
pretty
Wes Phillips
sure.
getting a little spicy there in the
Yeah, I think
preseason.
it was just like, let's see, because this is the thing. You want to know
Hey, let
what
him cook,
Max,
right?
you want exactly. And I think like when you listen to broadcast, they were saying the same thing. He went for it on fourth down 3 times. I think they were just trying to see, can Max Brosmer do this? If we
Yeah.
had to, like, is he the next Case Keenum to take us to the NFC Championship? Like, I think that's what they were trying to see. Honestly, I do think they were seriously taking a look at QB2, but I think that's if Quasey pulls that one off and makes Max Brosmer QB2, I mean, that would be the biggest story of next week.
Let me ask you this, Ron. You're dialed into the Gophers, obviously, Gophers Hall of Famer. It was a weak quarterback class, man. Last year was the year if you wanted a quarterback. This year, Shador falls to the 5th round. Okay, granted, for different reasons. But, Tyler Shuck goes to New Orleans. He's QB3. Why do you think Max Brosmer went undrafted? Was just the lack of body of work? And what, circling back, what are like the 1 or 2 NFL traits you're really starting to see him kind of develop now through 3 preseason games?
Yeah, one unproven. 5 years at a small school, and then you do 1 year in the Power Five. He only won 8 games. So did he do enough in games in the Big Ten for them to feel like, whoa, this guy's a barn burner? Two, just when you think about the who needed a quarterback, that's the other one. Like who needed one?
Sure.
And when you go down the list, unfortunately, with some of these quarterbacks, it becomes social media hype. It becomes the past of what they talked about this guy, how good he is. By the way, Cam Ward looks good. I hope he continues on that pace because he looked really good. I like this arm slot stuff that they talked about on the broadcast. Like he does look like he's getting the ball. Now, granted, it was the Vikings twos and threes, but he was getting the ball out of his hands pretty quick. Like he looks big, strong, confident in the pocket, willing to fight a teammate. So clearly he has some dog in him. Like he's not afraid to back down from anybody. But I think it was a little bit of just resume. Like Max broke because Josh McCown said the same thing to PJ Fleck when we were standing there. He's kind of like, do you think this guy would be a 6, 7 round pick? And everybody's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what this draft is going to do. Shador, we know. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the highlights so far of the Netflix Cowboys thing. The Deion Sanders bit alone, I got to watch it now with the cowboy hat. And he said, I'm the reason, I'm the season and the treason why Jerry Jones didn't go 3 feet
Jeez.
and win a third
I
championship.
tell
'Cause
that to my wife all the time. She
yeah, he went to
rolls
the
her eyes,
49ers
but,
and he won one there. And everybody's like, yeah, they could have won 4 if Dion didn't, do the 49ers bit. So I don't know. Like, I
yeah.
think that's a big family, a big aura, a big, personality of people. So that pushed Shador back. But at the end of the day, Max Brosmer just didn't do enough. Like, if he had been a 3-year starter in the Big Ten, he
Yeah.
probably is a 4th or 5th round pick.
Luke, just circling around as far as that goes, that same conversation, how much of this instant early success, because it's taken a lot of people by surprise for Max Brosmer, comes down to the KOC, Josh McCown school of quarterbacks. Like, what a great position this dude got to come into and learn from. But how much do you think this is just another small tally mark on the KOC resume right now?
I mean, yeah, put another feather in their cap, right? Rookie comes out of mostly a career at New Hampshire, comes in, and in his first year, he's already like out dueling veterans, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
He was the best QB on the field tonight, and the number 1 overall pick was on the field tonight. Good for you.
Let's keep the position battle coming.
Cam Ward did
Go
go
ahead.
3 for 4 though, so I will say that. Like he did go 3 for 4. They didn't keep him in there long, so I don't know. I debated on tweeting that one that like Max Brosmer was 1, Cam Ward was 2, but I'm like people would have lit me on fire.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That's tough.
I thought about
know
that,
what?
but I'm like, Cam
I'm
Ward
going
went
to
3
fire
for
that one
4.
off just
so
for you right now, Ron. I'm firing that one off
Fire
right
it.
now.
Fire it off. Let's get the position battles conversation rolling. Ron, I know you got to bounce here soon for the K-Fan vent line.
By the way, I don't know if you guys saw, I got the K Adams retweet before the show too.
Saw that.
I
Another
tweeted
golf
out her
clap.
video and
Another feather in your
know,
cap, Ron. Another feather in your cap.
I'm kind of disappointed in myself. So I had planned on going to practice and doing what I did with Diana Rossini with her. And my freaking kids' sports schedule just kind of really threw me off. And I couldn't make it out there because I text the Vikings that morning. I'm like, hey, what time? And I was going to get her because I knew she just was going to be. I mean, you literally saw her sitting on the concrete watching practice. And I'm like, because nobody else was there. No media was there. Nobody else was there. And so as an employee of the Vikings or, contractor of the Vikings, I could have went because I still have my team badge. And I kind of really, I messed it up. I messed it up. I'm really mad I couldn't do it. But you know what? I'll get my chance at some point. But I did because I reached out to her before. I'm like, hey, love to catch up if you ever get a chance. Because she's not a, she doesn't consider herself like a big football like mind, but
Sure.
she does have a lot of insight just
She's
from
tapped
what
in. She's
around it all. She kind of understands what people are saying about stuff.
Mhm.
She ran the Good Morning Football bit for a while, so she definitely understands that side of football. But she's a polarizing figure. I don't know if I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals fans love her, so maybe she'll come back to a Vikings game. I'm hoping she does, to like one of the JJ McCarthy tailgates or something, because I know she goes to Bengals and Philly games. So maybe we can get her back in Minnesota. She said she was treated well when she was here, so hopefully she'll come back.
Minus 130. She'll be on the Ron Johnson show here before 2026 gets here. I'm calling my shot.
That's a tough one.
Minus 130. Okay. Running backs. Let's keep the conversations rolling here to the running backs. Xavier Scott had one nice rip, 23-yarder, showing that burst, vision, physicality again tonight. No Ty Chandler. Why? Because he's already locked into the 53. Do we think? Is he on the way out already?
I feel like it's another. We know what you are. We don't need to see you play a drive.
Sure.
We know what's going on there, but also
maybe they don't want to get them hurt. You don't want to get guys hurt if you know you're probably going to cut them too. That's the other side of that. So that's
which way do you guys lean in that?
Yeah, you say why play him? What good is there in playing somebody like Ty Chandler? I think it's the same thing as Sam Howell. Like why bother? But Scott only played like a quarter too, and then the rest of it was like Trey Stewart and the new guy.
Yep. And
I think we kind of saw why Trey Stewart hasn't been getting as much run.
Ron, what's your gut say then? Ty Chandler out? Is he in? If they only keep one, is this Xavier Scott's new job now, this running back 3 job? What's your gut say after being out in practice last week?
Literally, with running backs, I have no clue, because it's such a weird thing when you think about the kickoff return opportunities of potentially now Miles Price. Like the punt return job looks like it's his. And so now Miles Price, because honestly, with the new kickoff, you just need somebody back there to catch the ball. You don't really need a dynamic like guy. And Miles Price, actually, I feel like is a little bit more dynamic in the return game on the kickoff than Chandler. So maybe Miles Price is really pushing Chandler out too. And then Xavier Scott, bigger body. When you think about what's going to happen, when you think about where this team is, it's a 1-2 punch with Jordan Mason and what's his name. So that's the
Aaron
key
Jones.
to this.
Yeah, for sure.
Aaron
Very
Jones,
top heavy in that room for sure.
So I think if it is, it's special teams play. Yeah. And did Xavier Scott do more on special teams than Ty Chandler will do? And I think that's the question for Deron Jones and the rest of the coaches who make that decision. And again, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Kevin O'Connell.
Ron, I want to sneak one more in here before you got to go to K-Fan Vent Line. If Max Brosmer was the A topic, I guess, leaving this game, I feel like wide receivers and like who's going to fill in? Addison, Naylor, are they going to trade for somebody? That was probably the A topic, I think, heading into tonight's game. Lucky Jackson, I feel like felt was a lock to make the 53. But then what? After Lucky, then what? Jay Sean Jones, Thayer Thomas, both with pretty good stat lines tonight, 4 catches each. Dante Fleming, we touched on him. He had the long of the night, 36-yarder. But as a former wideout, right, in the NFL, what's your 2 cents? How do you make, out of, I guess, all this fluid situation with this wide receiver room and all these, trade rumors kind of swirling around right now with Adam Schefter talking about reaching out to the Panthers and Adam Thielen and whatnot. Is the wide receiver 3, I guess, not even on the team right now?
That's a $1 million question. We're seeing Adam Thielen tweets. His wife can't even wish him a happy birthday without people trying to quote tweet. It'll be great for you so she had to lock her tweets. Because it's all like people saying happy birthday, but hey, come back to Minnesota. When you look at Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, I think Jalen Naylor's injury really maybe fast forwarded what Kwesi might be thinking about another receiver coming into the building. Brandon Howell's still out there. Amari Cooper is out there. Is that a quick kind of a Band-Aid, getting an Amari Cooper type of guy in the building quick, or Brandon Howell? I don't know. Lucky Jackson looked okay. Thayer Thomas, I know Tate Felton had like a little bit of an injury too. Miles Price is not a 3 in my opinion, and Thayer Thomas is more of a 4. So yeah, I kind of feel like it's outside the building, but at the end of the day, like if Kevin O'Connell already came into this thinking I got to run the ball 40% of the time, maybe feel like, because again, we keep forgetting about Hockenson. Hockenson is on this team. He just hasn't done much in the preseason. In the joint practices, it was the Jordan Addison show. So, I don't know if there hasn't been a lot of opportunity play calls to go to Hockenson, but it didn't feel like a Travis Kelce training camp for Hockenson. It felt like something else. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out with But at the end of the day, no, I don't know if wide receiver 3 is on the roster now. But also, what is it, 2 weeks? Could Jalen
Yes.
Naylor's hand be okay? And
Yeah.
that's the other key. Is like, does he have to have a minor surgery? If he does, man, that's gonna be tough.
Could anyone win this job? Return skills that you saw tonight, Luke, or I don't want to jump ahead just to the return job, but a lot of these guys in the wide receiver room as is.
I mean, yeah, it all comes down to special teams when it comes to, the 5th, 6th guy. I think they still know who their roster is going to be at the top, unless they add somebody like a Thielen or otherwise. So it is kind of about like the Miles Price returning thing. And he had some good moments from scrimmage as well. I thought Price had, he had the one good return and then he bobbled one. And I feel like that bobble kind of matters.
Yeah.
When it comes to special teams, like you're only on the field 5-6 plays. You screw one of those up, it can mean that you had a bad day, even if it was an almost screw up that ended up being fine. But really what I wanted to see not happen for Price was no mental mistakes, because there were so many of those in the last one, which I don't think I saw any. So we'll see if he's an interesting guy to see if he makes the 53, but I don't think he precludes you from going out and doing something at punt returner, which could still very much include Brandon Powell. He's going to fair catch everything and be super conservative. But at this point, you don't have somebody else to do the job. Hey, fair catch and never think about it again might be a more attractive option.
Yeah, just having that trust and peace of mind back there, definitely probably worth its weight in gold right now, 17 days before week 1. Lots more to get into, more players that made their case to make the final 53-man roster on defense. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Monarch Money. You ever go check your bank account, you wonder, where did my money go? Dining out, online shopping, entertainment, so easy to lose track, is it not? Well, that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your own personal CFO, Monarch Money, gives you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just another budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, spending, all in one place, so you stop just managing your money and instead you start building some wealth. I know when I use Monarch Money, I realized how much I was spending on streaming services, Apple TV, Disney, Hulu, HBO Max, you name it, I had it. But now I budget smarter. I save more than ever. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com. 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your entire first year. All right. I think we lost Ron to K-Fan Vent Line. Let me know if he pops back in. Wait a minute. Here
there he is.
There he is. Ron. Look we're getting bonus Ron time right now. A man that needs to be in many places, especially after the Vikings, and he's going to jump over to K-Fan eventually. Let's start with a light one actually here. We were kind of joking in the group chat. We got 2 weeks of PA and Bursich, the first 2 weeks, right? VEN broadcast. Tonight we got CBS with all the bells and whistles. We did get the interview of the season, though, last week with KOC talking on the mic for the entire third quarter. Felt like that was worth its weight in gold. But I'll admit I'm a CBS guy over Fox through and through. So for me, kind of a no-brainer. But tell me which one you guys prefer. Just as a fan, sitting down, watching preseason Vikings. You like the VEN broadcast? Ron, you're probably a little biased here as well.
Yeah, Ron might have to abstain from this conversation.
Come on now.
No, of course I like the VEN stuff. I love the Homer stuff. I think it's something really cute about the preseason that you get these like sort of janky broadcasts that don't quite have the polish and like the
bells and whistles,
easy flow that like the CBS A team is going to have with the budget and the resources and the experience that they have. But there's something so homey and fun about just an unabashedly biased thing. And I even like, I maybe this is a hot take for me. I like it when the Vikings are on the road in the preseason and you get to hear the other guys like wax poetic about wide receiver 9 on their team.
Yeah.
I think that's fun. I love seeing like a glimpse into what the other teams hear on the radio. I love listening to local radio broadcasts on like the NFL app. If I'm like driving and trying to listen to a primetime game, I'm not doing Westwood one. I'm picking a side, I love that kind of thing. So I love the local kind of janky. It's fun for me, but yeah, the CBS national polish. I thought they did a great job of like understanding the narratives going into the game and covering this preseason game, not trying to make you care about the score, but really say like, hey, look, there's this battle going on for like life or death battle going on at quarterback. And let's watch it from that lens and cover it from that lens. that was a pretty good decision. I thought they made it really compelling.
It wasn't that long ago. Mike Mayock, I'm a big draft guy, as you guys know. Mike Mayock was such a draft fanatic as well. Mike Mayock used to do the Vikings preseason games as well. And just for 2-3 weeks every year, you get Mike Mayock just really digging into the second and third team dudes, talking about their, scouting profile and things like that. Again, one of the things I always appreciate about the VEN kind of homer take as well. Tight ends.
That's the one thing I was going to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
The one thing is the Kevin O'Connell bit, like, That's
that
priceless.
CBS.
You're not getting that on CBS.
Fantastic.
And to drop an F-bomb on TV that, like to see Miles Price reset during emotion, and like you get the real raw emotion of a coach in that moment. And Kevin O'Connell was legit. One, he's like, look, yeah, this is how I would say it. Like, it probably would have been worse. Like, I think we got the
that was filtered.
No,
that was filtered.
Yeah, that was a filtered version.
Yeah.
But if that was probably like like mic'd up, because you could tell he kind of caught himself. Oh, he probably would have ripped into it a little bit. Like, what are you? Like it would have.
Well, and that's kind of fun to see behind the curtains too, because KOC always smiling, such a nice guy. The opposite of a Mike Zimmer too. So to see that just kind of human element, I guess, on the sidelines in real time was fantastic as well. I'm just moving to the positional groups.
Well, you guys have a good night.
See you, Ron.
Good night. We'll see you 53s, hopefully. And should be a good one.
Ron Johnson. Check him out every Tuesday on the Ron Johnson Show right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Luke, I'm just rolling through the positional groups down to the tight ends. Bryson Nesbitt flashed a little athleticism that we saw at UNC. Caught that TD catch from Brosmer, 2 catches, 45 yards. I'm looking at the stat lines here. Italian Stallion, 1 catch, 11 yards. Ben Urasek, 1 catch, 5 yards. I guess the fact they didn't play Nick Van Nett tells me he's the tight end 3. Oh, he did play.
There. Yeah, he got a special teams penalty and everything.
No,
it was a holding penalty. So, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in there just quiet. Everybody was quiet. I went into this one in the preview of this that went up this morning on Locked On Vikings, basically saying, hey, someone step up, someone do the thing. I thought Urasek looked pretty good, but he was taken out pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then Nesbitt had as good of a day as you want. But like the broadcast said, if you can't ask him to block, you can't ask him to be tight end 3. Interesting guy to keep in the building and to keep learning things. Maybe you want him to bulk up, get better at blocking later. Love it for a practice squad, and I think he won a practice squad job today. But I don't think you're exactly competing for the Johnny Munt role there.
Yeah,
I think it's either Urasek or you start to look at waivers. I don't know if Van Nett took that job, so you're going to go look and see who else people cut. But Urasek did okay.
And pretty foregone conclusion. They're only going to keep 3, right? I'm trying to remember back during the KOC era. I don't remember they've ever kept 4. I guess maybe.
Yeah, they had Nick Muse as a 4th sometimes.
Oh, sure. Okay, Nick Muse. Yeah.
But like, if you look at the skills, right? You got 3 at tight end, and there's nobody who's justifying keeping a 4th. No. You've got 4 guys at wide receiver who's justifying keeping an extra guy there.
Right.
So to kind of move it to the Xavier Scott Ty Chandler thing, in my 53 that I did just last week, I had both of them because there was room for both of them. Xavier Scott and Ty Chandler, because there's just not that many skill guys. You don't have 7 wide receivers you want to keep or 4 tight ends you want to keep. So you might as well throw another running back in there just to have somebody else of that size and speed for special teams. Why not? But yeah, I don't think anybody at tight end really made it not optional. Came out and said, I'm the guy and I'm going to force the issue.
100%. If we're keeping the best 53 guys, right, within a certain bubble, right, obviously you can't keep 15 wideouts or 1 position group. But you're totally right. Nobody jumped out and kind of stole the show for that tight end.
I got an update for you, Luke.
Please.
Joshua Metellus announces on Twitter he called the second series in the second half.
Dude, that's what Ron mentioned too. Can we just
said on
clap? Brian Flores, last week, obviously,
go pee real quick.
Durante,
you take the reins.
Yeah, hey, Durante Jones last week and some of his assistants, but now taking it to the next level, though, and also props to him as well, because it's like, okay, we get it, dude. You're already a Swiss Army knife on the field, Metellus, what can't you do?
Hey, coach on the field, right?
Yeah, coach on the field. Speaking of just, trying to figure out how many guys they're going to keep at each position. O-line, I'm kind of going back and forth. I'm assuming 9 is what they ultimately end on. But,
Yeah, I don't think
offensive
anybody
line
made the
too,
difference.
admittedly is just the toughest to grade or assess live in the moment on the broadcast view without, all the 20, all 22 and all that. But did anybody stick out? Anybody catch your eye at all? I thought
Jeffrey Simmons.
Jeffrey.
Like you got Jeffrey Simmons going up against Joe Huber. It's like, man, I'm not mad at you, Joe. You can take that L. That's fine.
Jeffrey
but no, nobody really stuck out to me.
1 pick after Garrett Bradbury, by the way. Could have Jeffrey Simmons.
Right.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody like really made the case. If anything, there are people that like cemented their case. You had penalties on all of Huber, Vershawn Lee, Logan Brown, penalties on a lot of guys that needed like a perfect day to really make their case.
Yeah.
I have no idea who 79 was, Emmer. Who is that? I totally missed that. Must have been a signing, or is that like, because it's not Leroy Watson. He's 72. I don't remember a 79 before, but
yeah.
Are you opening our lads?
Yeah, I better not.
Oh God, let me open our lads.
Well, while you're doing that, let's just real quick, just to kind of round out the offensive line discussion. We got our starting 5. We know that. Who's next? Jurgens, Brandel,
Zach
Justin
Bailey.
Skule. Oh, it was Zach Bailey. Okay.
Yeah.
Jurgens, Brandel, Justin Skule. That's 8. Who's 9? If they keep 9, which 8 seems pretty thin, but if they keep 9. Is it Joe Huber, Walter Rouse?
It's Rouse for sure.
It is. Okay.
Huber had 1 good preseason game and 2 bad ones. I mean, look, some of the bad stuff that happened to him was from starters, Milton Williams and Jeffrey Simmons and stuff. But I think getting consistently dunked on by those guys is worse than, you lost one. But like if you are on the team, we do expect you to like go in against starters. Like we do want you to see like at least survive. And bad things continue to happen to him in both of those games. So I don't think he made it. A great practice squad, right? I think you kick Henry Bird out the org and Joe Huber is your next Henry Bird. But I don't think he had a consistent enough preseason. And Walter Rouse was actually pretty good. And he was one of the only guys on the 2s that could handle Dallas Turner all camp. So I think it's got to be Rouse.
Just thinking about this Metellus calling plays. Would love to know what series it was and just go back and watch that. Just see how that turned out.
Second series in the second half is what he said.
Okay. So we got it. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah,
let's start on the defense. Let's start with the defensive line. And before we do, entertain me here because I need your thoughts or want your thoughts on the Harrison Phillips trade. I'm sure you guys discussed it ad nauseum on the squad show yesterday morning where I missed out, but maybe just rank the reasons why they pulled that out from top to bottom. Was it because they love the depth so much? Was it because they're preparing to make a splash at, receiver, I guess is kind of the default answer there. Was it because he's not guaranteed salary next year, saves a much needed chunk for them next year in 2026 on the cap? That was a bold move. And I know it turned a lot of heads being a captain and, a pillar on that defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the young guys playing well enough, right? I think they're really excited about Jalen Redmond. I think you're going to see more Jalen Redmond than you think you're going to see this year.
Mm-hmm.
Levi Drake Rodriguez, he gets a sack in this one. Good for him. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins has also been showing out a lot. I did a whole Patreon video on him at patreon.com/LukeBraunNFL. He did great. So it's like those young guys being able to sort of make up the difference, right, at those positions. But none of those guys are huge. But Taki Taimani is, and I think they still like him well enough. You had 8 D tackles, so you were going to cut somebody, or you do the one that can save you a little bit of money and get you a draft pick back, which is what they get a 6th and then a 6-7 swap next year or in 2027.
And I think they save like $9 million, nine off the books.
Yeah, so they save like 4 and change this year and then 7.5 next year. They would save a full 8, but they actually took on some of that money too.
Got it.
Me, it's a little bit. It reminded me a little bit of like a Nick Easton, Alex Boone dynamic where you've got a young guy, the expensive old guys is, fine, but the young guy might have promise and potential. And there's you can kind of save a little bit of resources that way, right? And you can sort of nickel and dime it. I would argue that did not work out for the Vikings last time. I don't really love it because I don't think it makes the Vikings better. I think it makes them more flush with cash, and that doesn't win Super Bowls. Cash does not win Super Bowls. So I don't like the philosophy behind it. And I somebody who can like really 2-gap in the middle. They don't really have that guy unless it's Taki Taimani. Like, that's not Jonathan Allen's game.
Yeah.
That definitely should not be Javon Hargrave's game. And the rest of these guys are rotational dudes. So I don't love it, but I get it. And then, so here's a funny thing, Luke. I reached out to Julian Council, who does Locked On Panthers, because everybody's talking about Adam Thielen. I was like, what's the deal?
Yep.
And I was like, would they really part with him? Because it seems like he's so important. And they said, well, yeah, he's doing great. He's still, they're not disappointed with him or anything. And it's not like he's asking out or anything like that. But they have 8 guys who they could keep at wide receiver. I was like, it's a Harrison Phillips situation. Okay, great. I get it.
Yeah.
So the same thing's happening in Carolina, and that's why they're trying to get that deal done.
Yeah, just pulled up this wide receiver depth chart there. Yeah, obviously Thielen, especially with a young quarterback like Bryce Young, they're trying to make sure they surround him with the, dudes that know how to catch the ball, get open, make life easy. But Ted McMillan, top 10 pick, Jalen Coker, they really like him. Hunter Renfrow, I haven't heard that name in a while, and Jimmy Horn back there as well. But then you got guys like Xavier Legette as well, early second round pick last year, David Moore. So it is a pretty flush, wide open wide receiver room over there. I just don't think, as far as just I would think the A topic is just developing and progressing Bryce Young, making him make that next step. I don't think moving Adam Thielen for a day 3 pick really moves the needle enough in that wide receiver room. But I guess we'll find out here over the next few days. Real quick, just wrapping up this defensive line conversation. Do you think there is a leading horse in this race to just fill in for Phillips, or is this just totally body by committee now, and it just depends on the down and distance? Yeah, just down and distance, and who fits the need and role, I guess, on certain different packages and things like that. You think we'll see a lot of Redmond, though? You think his stock?
It sounds like they're going to do a lot of Redmond. So in practice, the days that Phillips was not there, it was Redmond. And then with Ingram Dawkins kind of mixing in the way that he always has been. So Redmond will be the guy who plays. In terms of what role everybody plays, I think in those base packages, you're going to maybe do things a little differently so that you can try to take advantage of the fact that you have a little more pass rush juice and a little more speed on the field. So I don't know if it's going to be 1-for-1. But if it is 3rd and 1 and you just need beef, you might keep Taki Taimani for that reason. And now, if we in all of our 53-man rosters, we toyed with the idea of keeping 7 defensive tackles and cutting one of Taimani or Elijah Williams and then saying that's our 7. Well, now you can keep both of those guys and still do the 7 if you're still willing to do that math. And Elijah Williams, so he is listed on the Vikings site as 270. At 270, as many people pointed out, there is no way that dude is 270 right now.
He was flying down the special teams drills, though, tonight. I will say that. So,
oh my God, yeah.
For however big, 280, 290. Woo!
Oh, yeah, they were jumping.
Scooting. Yeah, he was scooting. Yeah, fan favorite. Everybody's fan favorite right now, Elijah Williams. Hopefully he does make the 53 after this Harrison Phillips trade. Let's keep things moving. Plenty more to come. We'll touch on the linebackers, edge rushers, and a very fluid secondary situation as well. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode also brought to us by Yahoo Fantasy Sports. This year, myself and the entire squad, we're playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy, they're dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues. Killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo. The lowest scoring team gets eliminated. They get chopped every week until there's only one team standing. The season just around the corner. Now's the time to get your league together. Try this new mode and give it a try. Or if you're into the classics, you can still play head-to-head private leagues or join a public league as well. That's always an option. But stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. By the way, as always, full deep dive from this one on the Viking Squad Show with our guy, Arif Hassan. Make sure you like and subscribe. Keep up with all the actions. New episodes every Monday and every Thursday. Before we get into the linebackers and secondary, injury report. Did I miss any injuries? Any injuries you want to shout out real quick? Just hoping to get out of these games healthy, obviously. That's always, top priority.
Not that I saw. My good bud, Tyler Forness, thought he maybe saw Elijah Williams leave, or maybe he was just getting pulled for the day because he was done for the day. But I want to keep an eye on that. I do have the series that Josh Metellus did.
Oh, please.
It was in the second half. It was I believe it goes down as a 3 and out, or it did force a punt. It was 3 blitzes, including a 3rd and 11 0 look that resulted in a delay of game, and another 0 look. I think he just put back the same play call, and the quarterback had to flush out and throw it away. Yeah, so he just kind of went hard for it.
I love that. Just right on brand. I love that. And why not,
Beautiful.
too? Preseason, and maybe I'll never get a chance to do this again, right? Rooting on my guy. Trying to get one of your guys to go
dial it up, baby. That's what I would do.
Trying to get one of your boys to go make a splash play, get in the box score as well. Love that. Let's talk linebackers and edge real quick. Asamoah, obviously, out last week. Here comes Kobe King. He's making the team, I'm sure, especially as a special teams guy. Eric Wilson, that's your 3 at linebacker. Gabe Murphy, we know he's in. Is that where the train kind of stops, though? I'm thinking of guys like, Austin Keys had a nice sack tonight on Trevor Siemian. Bo Richter, is he still in play here for the final 53?
Oh, yeah.
Tyler
Bo
Batty
Richter was lived in the backfield all day. Yeah, I think if there was any question, I think he answered it.
He's been good. You think he makes
Keys
it?
is the interesting one.
You think Richter makes it? They're just so stocked. They're so flushed, man. They're so flushed at edge. But
yeah, well,
obviously a good problem to have.
I see. So this is the way that my 53 has been all offseason, and it's not going to change in the last one. It's been Grenard, Van Ginkel, Turner, Gabe Murphy, Bo Richter. Those are the 5. And then if you want to talk about Chambliss or Batty or whatever on the practice squad, Chaz Chambliss had a really great couple of games now in a row on special teams. I think that matters a lot. But I don't know if that might make him like a weird tough Borland style game day activation, but not somebody that really seriously impacts the roster. But in terms of the outside guys, the edge rushers, I don't really see anybody else on the team that's Cam Gill.
Yeah.
You got 5.
Thanks for showing up. Yeah. I will admit now, maybe the most intriguing position group is the secondary for me personally, because usually I got a good idea. Like I got educated guesses I'm throwing at the wall. And obviously, I'm not talking about the starting 3, right? We know who those guys are, but it just feels like there's so many guys back there right now in a fluid, day-to-day battle, it might seem for 1 or 2 spots behind, Jeff Okudah at corner, and then Jay Ward, who was flying around as well. A couple missed tackles there, though, too. At safety.
There's the hurdle.
The hurdle. At safety as that safety 4. But, Stuart Reddy, nice PBU on a 4th down tonight. And then on the flip, you got Zayamiah Vaughn, who a lot of people like. Maybe the blunder of the night. He lost his footing. Watch Van Jefferson take a 65-yarder to the house.
That's a rough one.
That was rough, dude. So, spin the secondary wheel with me, I guess, and tell me who you're thinking. Who's this wheel land on when it comes to, this final 53 after tonight?
So I think the only one who is genuinely a lock to me is Mekhi Blackman. Sure. Oh, and I guess Jay Ward. Outside of like your starters and, everybody Theo Jackson and up. But I think Ward and Blackman are the 2 that are locks. Those are the only ones that have looked like remotely comfortable being in the right place, making the tackles they're supposed to make. Blackman gave up a couple of catches, but nothing particularly egregious, nothing that makes you like concerned. And he made the tackles. He was there. I think they'll be perfectly happy with those 2 guys. Then you get to the outside. Both McLaurin and Vaughn had rough days. It wasn't just the ankle breaker from Van Jefferson for Vaughn. He missed another tackle earlier. They both gave up catches. They both were in the wrong spot. That's another one I could see them looking at the waiver wire, but now we're getting a pretty long shopping list here in August. That's not a great place to be. And actually, Matt Freese floated the idea, and I can't get it out of my head, of Reddy Stewart making the team over these guys. He's had a couple of pass breakups. Problem is he's had his fair share of mistakes too. So I'm not quite sure what Durante Jones is going to be able to do with these guys. It's pretty rough. I think you keep 4 safeties. I think that's pretty clean. In Harrison Smith, Metellus, Theo Jackson, Jay Ward. I think you got those guys. I don't think you have to mess around with Tavier Thomas or Khalif Hailasi or anything.
That's locked in. Yep.
You don't need to do that. It's a matter of what you do at corner. You need a certain amount for both depth and just to have speed on like punt gunning and stuff. But I don't know who else it's going to be.
Yeah. All of them, all those guys past the starters feel like you could nitpick and have their faults for sure. And it's funny because it felt like Vaughn kind of came into tonight like maybe his job to lose, and unfortunately, I mean, although you
can't in cover 0, man, you cannot do that. You cannot do that in the Flores defense when it is a cover 0 look. Yeah. Everybody is blitzing. You have no help over the top. You cannot overrun it. You can't get too deep, that's the mistake he made. It wasn't just that he got out agiled. It wasn't just that he got his ankles broken like it's a basketball game. In football, you coach things in a specific way to prevent you from being in that situation. You say, don't get too close to him. Let him get his 9 yards. It's third down. Let him get his 9 yards. Stay at the sticks. Let him make whatever moves he wants to make. And then when he declares something, go make the tackle. But Vaughn has been uncontrolled. This has happened a lot in those looks specifically, where he's either been late to break or uncontrolled on those tackles. And in that situation, that's like the thing you cannot do, because it basically is always going to be a touchdown if you miss that tackle. You have to make that tackle. Nobody else is making that tackle. It is always a touchdown if you miss that tackle. And I think that's a great play. Whatever it means for Vaughn, I think it is a great example whenever anybody asks, why are they playing corner the way that, why aren't they pressing, right? Why aren't they doing that more in blitzes?
Yeah,
why do they play so far off? It's
Good
third and 2. Why is he 10 yards off? That's why, because that's what happens if you don't have enough cushion.
They all got their defects we can pick apart for sure. It's tough because, I don't want people to think that we're just picking on one rep. People are going to say so much body of work all summer, all camp, all preseason to lose a job on one rep because maybe you slipped a little bit. Again, maybe his silver lining tonight going to bed is the fact that nobody else really jumped out and pleaded a case that, hey, dude, I gotta be in contention to leapfrog Vaughn after the tough night he had. Who else had a tough night? A night to forget, just in general. Oscar Chapman, maybe.
Oscar Chapman had a night
the bobbled
to
snap,
for sure.
right? On
Because
Will Reichert's
Ryan Wright also punted reasonably. He had one 39-yarder that wasn't the best. He had another one that was a pretty good boom. He held all of the kicks properly. Ryan Wright had at least a vindicating night. Hey, I can do this job well enough. And Oscar Chapman blows a hold. You can't do that. It's like I said earlier, when it's special teams, one mistake is enough. It is one play. Yeah, but if you make that one mistake, how do I know that's not going to happen again? And I don't really get to test it under pressure till it matters. I'm sorry, I can't go with you, Aussie. I do think Oscar Chapman lost a job tonight.
Quick break. We're coming back. Biggest question remaining before we get to week 1, 17 days away in primetime at Soldier Field. That's all coming up right after this. All right, so I think in Vegas, the over-under win total for the Vikes moved up to 9.5, went from 8.5 to 9.5, I believe. But
on FanDuel it did, yes. FanDuel does it different, where they list all of them, and you can bet on any over/under.
Oh, sure,
but 9.5 is now the most balanced. Is more balanced. People are hammering the over on 8.5 so much that 9.5.
Sure, it got bumped. It got bumped up. So obviously here in Minnesota, we all drink a little purple Kool-Aid from time to time. A lot of people think this team, this core, this nucleus does have the makeup to get hot and go on a run, as long as J.J. McCarthy is the guy we all expect him to be. If they were a serious Super Bowl legitimate contending team sitting here right now on August 22nd, what is still the biggest question mark or thing that you think will hold them back as we get closer to week 1 in Soldier Field?
Maybe it's just because we just watched depth struggle in the preseason, but it is depth, right? Like we're already experiencing
They're
the
top
wrong
heavy.
guy gets injured, and now we have, it's top heavy. It's a lot of old guys. It's a lot of veterans, and it's a lot of guys with injury history. So this isn't just saying, what if we get unlucky? They have exposed themselves to extra injury risk. I think on the D line, if your Jonathan Allens and Javon Hargraves get hurt, at least we feel good about that depth, right? You're not going to get Jonathan Allen type production out of Jalen Redmond, but at least you have a guy you feel like you can, throw into the game and trust a little bit. But at quarterback, who's the depth? At corner, who's the depth? At receiver, who's the depth? At tight end, who's the depth? At O-line and the interior, who's the depth? Like, it's every single position seems to have this problem. But I do want to pose one more to you, Luke.
Yeah.
Chad's been going off about it. Are we worried about Will Reichert or not? I'm not. You miss a 63-yarder and the punter botches a hold. Everything else is money. And by the way, the 63-yarder was close. So I am not. But do you feel the same way?
Hey, that's good from 62. Okay, that one was good from 62. So we're splitting hairs there. And don't forget, he was 8 for 8 coming into tonight. And half those are extra points. But as we've seen in today's NFL, still got to keep track of those as well. 8 for 8 coming into tonight. I'm not worried about him. Again, young kid, going to be some ebbs and flows. Had that injury midseason last year. Probably maybe a little speed bump or hiccup as far as just his kind of development and kind of momentum, I guess, if you will, as far as developing through an entire NFL season his rookie year. But I'm not worried about him. I scanned the entire NFL, go through each depth chart, go watch some of the other kickers. The bottom 5-10 in the NFL right now would make your skin crawl, I feel like. So all in all, Will Reichert, I'm cool with it. Young kid, use a draft pick on him, let him develop another year. And as long as there's no, blow-ups in Lambeau, a la Daniel Carlson, I say roll with the kid through the lumps, through the ebbs and flows, through the ups and downs. And let's see what the kid looks like in 2026. I like it. I'm cool with it. Last one, then we'll get out of here. How about like a bold prediction? One bold, or I'll give you two options. Bold prediction for 2025, or you've traveled a lot to a lot of Vikings games. You went to London, saw the double doink. What is the best game on the schedule as a Viking fan?
As a Viking fan, well, I'm biased. I will be traveling across the pond again.
Sure,
I'm going to be at both of those.
Well, I think that those should probably.
I think those are the answer, right?
Those should be the favorites.
There is. I will say there is always something special about going to the Lambeau game. That is 100%. Always a fun one. Getting razzed by all the Packers fans and stuff. Yep. That is an experience everybody should try to get to because it's not that far away too. You don't have to get a plane ticket or anything.
I'm just trying to time it the right year where it's not like Ponder starting or Joe Webb starting. Like I've been trying to, you know what I mean? Like miss the Favre, not paying $450 for a ticket. I'm sorry. So it's like, maybe this is the year. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, get to like a primetime one, maybe one of the early ones then, right? Like Falcons, Sunday Night Football. That'd be popping.
Yeah.
How about this for a bold prediction for 2025? By the end of the season, we will unanimously and with very little debate regard Jordan Love as the worst QB in the NFC.
Oh, you went there? Oh my God. That is bold.
It's bold.
That is bold. That is spicy. I like it. I'm here for it. Of course. Absolutely would love that, by the way. How much did they just pay him last year, by the way?
Yeah, they paid him a lot.
How much did they just pay him? Yeah.
Hasn't shown in the preseason what they wanted him to show.
No.
He hasn't shown the consistency you want. The reason he didn't quote unquote take the step up that you wanted last year, they thought he was going to be an MVP candidate and it turns out to be inconsistent, is because he had times where you can throw 3 interceptions in a playoff game or 3 interceptions in another game. He has these or in a game against the Vikings, he has these meltdown games. You can't do that. We saw that for way too many years with Kirk. You can't be a pretty good QB that puts up good stats, but then 3 times a year you just don't get to win because he decides his brain didn't come in with him in the car today. You can't do that. And that's what we've seen now for 2 years from him. This is year 7, Jordan. I don't see it changing.
Let's get out of here. Let's end on that note. Very spicy take. I'm all for it. Vikings fall to the Titans in the third and final preseason matchup. Final score in Tennessee, 23-13. Huge shout out to all you guys, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. Again, go check out Ron on the Ron Johnson Show. That's each and every Tuesday. Luke's always crushing over on Locked On Vikings each and every day. Again, new episode, Viking Squad Party, dropping Monday morning. Don't miss that. And please like and subscribe. Get us to 10K. So close. We'll see you in 17 days here for another postcast for some primetime football at Soldier Field, Vikings, Bears. Maybe we'll have a new wide receiver 3 by then. Time will tell. Until then, though, thanks for watching. Until then, signing off.